Well, we don't have any music here today, Ralph.
We seem not to, Jim. I wonder
What happened?
what happened.
I don't know.
Technology is baffling.
Yeah. Well, Alex isn't here and they left us alone. It's not our fault.
Well, I was in dangerous company because I was alone,
Yeah. Unsupervised, right?
unsupervised, yes.
Hey, we're going to talk about something that's kind of in the news these days, and that is the use of or misuse of some psychological terms. The terms psychopath, sociopath, and narcissist.
We hear those a lot, and a lot of people who are talking and using those terms do not seem to use them either correctly or understand quite what they're saying.
Yeah. This is the DSM-5. When I started as a psychologist, it was the DSM-2, and it was about 40 pages long. DSM-5 is 950 pages, and of those, 40 pages look at personality disorders, and that's where the old definition of sociopath, psychopath, and narcissist, used to reside. Now it's personality disorder, and that would be both the psychopath and the sociopath, and narcissistic personality disorder. So if you are using the term sociopath or psychopath, hey, you're in the wrong language now. You're not up to date, but that's okay. It does sort of tell us in shorthand what we're looking at.
Now, one of the things, Jim, that to be kind of beginning with it, we can say that a psychopath or a person who has psychopathic characteristics, that is generally thought of as a genetic or biological basis,
Okay.
more so than a sociopath. So you can say, well, a psychopath may be born.
And a sociopath is made?
A sociopath is made. Now, how do you make a sociopath?
Well, that's a good question. Since it's a personality thing, we make people's personalities. Let's see if I can get in on this. Oops, that's on you.
Here,
Back to us.
I'll take it, or
Well.
I can hold it up.
Okay, we'll go in on it. See our little, let's see. There we go. There's our triangle here. And Freud came up with this, although there are other ways of looking at it. The personality is the interaction between id, ego, and superego. And if you think about a person that we'd call a psychopath, they are high in energy and not very high in what we would call morality. That's the superego.
Yeah. So superego, we can think of it as conscience.
Yeah. Now, the sociopath might be a little more moderated, maybe not as self-involved, not as lacking a superego involvement, but the general thought is that the psychopath is the individual who really wreaks havoc with society, the murderer, for example.
Yeah.
And we could argue about what the incidence of that might be, but it's somewhere between 1% and 1/1000th of a percent. I just happen to know a lot of psychopaths because of where I worked.
Yeah. And
Not at the university, by the way, but in the prison.
1 in a million might be a very loose way of trying to quantify that. So if you think of 350 million people in the United States, we might have,
350.
350.
Yeah.
So it's not very common. Now, if you look back at the DSM-5, 900 pages that describe mental illnesses and 40 pages that describe personality disorders,
Yeah.
it's not common.
Right. It's not as common as we would think it is if we were looking at social media. Now, you, pardon me, you made a point to me the other day, Ralph, which I thought was a good one. People on social media are referring to other people as sociopaths or psychopaths, mainly if they disagree with the views of the person.
Yeah, anybody, I don't care which side of any issue you're on. Somebody says, "Oh, I don't agree with that," and immediately you say,
"Oh, you're a sociopath."
"You're a
Or
sociopath," which is just flat out wrong.
Yeah.
No, you have a person who has a different opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Now, rather than throwing name calling at that person, if you said something like, "Explain to me why you disagree with me."
Mm-hmm. Ralph, you take the rational approach every time. What's going on here?
Yeah. And the problem with that, I think, for a lot of people is they don't want to hear what the other side has to say.
Yep.
Whether it's logical or illogical, what they want to do, and you could argue that this is, in fact, their sociopathic characteristic, or maybe even narcissistic, which we haven't got to, they don't want to have a discussion. They want to
be right.
They want to be right.
Yeah.
And they want to overloom the other person and beat them into the ground like a peg.
Yeah. We talked about that when we were looking at toxic talk a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. There's not a lot of room for civility, it seems.
Yeah. I look at what's happening in the current shutdown. Jim mentioned to me that 1,800 flights were canceled today because they couldn't get air traffic controllers and other people who were not being paid to come to work. And I look at that and say, okay, this discussion that should be taking place is not, because neither side can be civil in their approach to how do we solve this problem.
Right. Again, Ralph, your rationality. You should be president, Ralph.
No. Anybody who should be president is too smart to take the job.
Okay, very good. We didn't hit narcissist. And, we've seen a number of political leaders being called narcissists. And if we take a look at our triangle again, the narcissist would be probably high in energy, high in id, and probably very, very high in ego, and maybe either moderate or even low in superego or consciousness.
Yeah, and so, you look at somebody who wants to be a celebrity.
Yeah, that's it exactly. Go on a celebrity talk show or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, here's the big five: ocean, openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, neuroticism. So our narcissist would probably be high on extroversion, maybe a little bit low on agreeableness, probably pretty low on conscientiousness, and I don't know where they would be on outgoing, that kind of thing. But I like Freud's triangle, in terms of being able to kind of think about who these people might be. They're people who are sort of me first, look at me, I'm so cool.
I'm so good.
Yeah.
Kanye West was like that.
Okay.
Who are the ladies from the family?
It begins with a K.
Yeah.
Not Keperdigens, or I don't. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, you will recognize the names better than old guys like us do. The Kardashians, that's the name.
That's the name. Yeah,
Yeah.
very good.
But the thing is, we said that sociopaths could be made, and we haven't really touched on how you make a sociopath. And the answer seems to be they have a terribly traumatic childhood.
Okay. Yeah. The people that I worked with in prison, I think by and large had a terribly traumatic childhood. The people that I went to school with in the Sioux who ended up in the prison I was working in, I knew about their traumatic childhoods.
Yeah.
The thing is, Ralph, lots of people have traumatic childhoods, but not everybody ends up, in a prison cell.
So the thing is with sociopaths, you can make the argument that there are sociopaths in the sense that they're high in ego,
Yeah.
but they are pro-social. So they become CEOs. If they're not pro-social and they're very manipulative,
They become con men.
they become con men.
Yeah.
Or if they have a total lack of conscience, they become Ted Bundy and become a serial killer.
Yeah.
So, you say to somebody, I think so-and-so is a sociopath. Well, that could be a CEO or it could be a serial killer. So in that spectrum,
Yeah.
that label is essentially meaningless.
Right. Yeah. I think of the guy, I think his name was Gecko in Wall Street.
Yeah,
A good example of a sociopath close to a psychopath, I think.
I think, yeah.
But you take a look at most of the family in what's the name of that series of the mafia series?
Oh, The Sopranos? you're
Yeah,
thinking
The
of?
Sopranos, just about everybody there would fit into the psychopath category.
They would,
Mm-hmm.
because the answer to any problem ultimately was
Kill him.
no man, no problem.
Yeah, yep. Wipe it out.
Wipe it out.
Yep. So all you influencers out there, all you folks who are on social media talking to other people in a nice civil way, or if you lapse into a lack of civility, remember, sociopath and psychopath really don't exist in our language anymore. So, be civil.
Be civil, yeah.
Well, are we about ready to shut it down for today, Ralph?
I think so. The only thing that I wanted to say is the last one, which is psychopaths seem very genetic. Sociopaths can be made. Narcissists seem to have qualities that they learned as young people, not necessarily from bad childhoods, but from an overweening belief that their ideas are the best.
Okay, gotcha.
Hitler.
Now, are we getting any? We're not getting any music here either, are we?
Doesn't look
Let's
that
see.
way.
No. Well, like we said, we've got Left Alone, and this is about as good as it gets. So we apologize for not having that nifty intro and outro music, but we at least can say, hey, keep your
Keep your
stick on the ice
because we're all in this
together.